So good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sunday School. You'll notice that we're back in where we normally are, but there's something different. What's different, Amelia? We have a Christmas tree behind us because it is that time of year. So we're going to start. Amelia's rung our bell 3 times.
And
we have our Advent wreath that we made last week. So how many candles are we lighting today, Amelia? 2 candles. Okay. We have to use the barbecue lighter because of the kind of candles that I got. So I can't anyway, but we're gonna light 1 and 2. Now the first, so how many more Sundays, thank you, Amelia. How many more Sundays do we have to go until Christmas? So we've lit 1. Do you remember what the name of this candle was?
Hope.
Hope. And then 2, do you know what the name of today's candle is?
Joy.
I think it's actually peace. There's some debate, but we're going to go with peace. So hope and peace. And then after that, how many more candles?
Smoking.
Yeah, it's okay.
Gosh,
there's nothing on fire. There's nothing on fire. It's
That's
fine.
hot.
Is that hot? Okay. Well, let's move that away then. Good catch, Millie. So how many more candles do we have to go? How many more Sundays till Christmas? Okay, let's put the scissors down. How many more Sundays till Christmas? Look, how many do we have left till? No. Okay. Amelia.
2
till Christmas. Okay. So we have hope and now we have peace.
Peace or joy.
Peace or joy. So we're going to start a craft today. We're going to talk a bit about peace, but we're going to start a craft today. And then we're going to finish it next week. So for this craft, you're going to need scissors. Right? You're going to need scissors. And for next week, you're going to need glue. You're going to, that's coconut. Please sit down and stay away from the fire. Thank you. So for this week, we're going to get a bowl. We need a bowl. And here are the other things you're going to need. You're going to need black cardboard or cardstock. So this is just some cardstock. We're going to use this today. We'll see how far we get with craft today. You're going to need, I found our other pair of scissors. You're going to need some other paper for drawing and cutting. And you're going to need tissue paper because we're going to make some stained glass windows that that you can hang in your windows to help as we celebrate the season, as we wait for Jesus to come as a little baby, and as we wait in our hearts, and as we spread a little, I know, yeah.
It's flammable.
It is, well, it is flammable, but it's not that far close to a fire. It's okay. As we spread a little bit of hope and peace.
Around the world.
So what we're going to do, so I took this cardboard, and you're going to need your cardstock, and what I did was I took 1 sheet and I cut it into 4 equal pieces, and for every stained glass window we need 2 pieces. Okay, so here's Amelia's 2 pieces, here are my 2 pieces, and what we need to do now, do we have our markers? We need something to draw with. So Amelia, here's your sheet. Now what I want you to do is I want you to cut your sheet the same size as your stained glass window, and it could even be a little bit smaller because we don't want it to reach all the way to the edge.
So, what'd you say about is that good?
Yeah. So here's my square. Do you want to use my square as a template? So there's my square.
Can you cut out this one?
Oh, it's the same thing. Oh, okay. I'm going to cut out this one. Okay. And what you want to do is we want to pick an image that reminds us of the birth of Jesus. So hope and peace, and then do you remember what the other 2 candles are, Amelia? Joy. You already said joy. And what's the other one?
Love.
And love. So we need an image that's going to remind us. Now this doesn't need to be perfect because this is actually just what we're going to use.
Wait, where's my second piece of black paper?
Oh, there. This is what we're going to use to help us trace onto our black paper. So this is like a negative image. So I thought
it's like design what you want.
So what I was thinking about a symbol that would communicate. Now, symbols are signs, and they communicate and they point to God. They point to something else, but in this case, it points to God. And so we want to point to something that has hope, peace, joy, and love. And I thought that maybe, I don't know if we can see this, but a star would be a really good idea. Do you want 2 stars or 1 star? Do you want 1 big star in your stained glass window or 2?
I want one of these stars.
One of those stars? Okay. So what you want to do on your green sheet of paper is you want to draw.
I need a marker.
You want to draw. I'm going to give you a marker. You want to draw your star. And that's going to be your stained glass window. But you want to make sure.
I want a big star.
You want the big star? Okay. I was going to say you want to make sure you have a lot of room around the edges, because that will be the edge of your stained glass window. So you just want to draw. I'm going to do 2 stars. Actually, just 1 star, because I guess that's the star in the sky for Jesus. And I'm going to do it off to the side.
Yeah, there was only 1 star, not 2.
You're right. There was only 1 star, and it was very, very, and it shone very, very
bright.
It shone very brightly. And what happened?
It was the brightest star.
It was the brightest star
that night.
And it shone for a really long time because
it wanted the shepherds and everybody else to
follow it. So
yeah.
Here's where it gets tricky. So now you're going to cut that star out. Okay, so you're going to cut it out. Yeah, to follow it. Now, so today, this Sunday, we're celebrating the Sunday of Peace. So Amelia, I wonder what peace means. What do you think peace means?
To be nice.
Peace means to be nice. That is part of what peace means, absolutely.
No wars.
No wars, yeah.
No violence.
No violence, yeah. So what is peace on earth?
Everybody being equal.
Everybody being equal, so people being
equally thought of.
Equally thought of, yeah.
The world at peace.
The world at peace, yeah. The world at peace, yeah. And so I wonder what are some ways that
dogs, and more dogs.
Dogs, and more dogs is how you think of peace. I can understand that's how you would think of peace. I'm wondering, Amelia, how you can be a peacemaker. How can you be a peacemaker? How can you bring peace?
Just a second. I'm not done.
Okay, so while Amelia's cutting hers out, I'm lining mine up on my stained glass window where I want it. So I kind of want it like that. Kind of almost looks like a Star of David. So, but
what does the Star of David mean?
Star of David is a sign of Jewish people, and so what we want to do is instead of cutting it out of the black paper,
we want our 2 sheets to be in.
Right. So we're gonna draw around it.
I need a mark.
Yeah, we're gonna draw around it, and then we're actually gonna cut out the negative space. So, right. So our black paper is our window, and
we're gonna cut
out. So I've lined my sheets up, and I'm gonna cut out my star. So I'm gonna poke a hole right in the middle of both of my papers if I can. You might need your parents' help for this. I'm actually gonna try and fold it a little bit. I'm folding it a little bit, and I'm gonna cut it. And then I'm gonna cut out the inside, because that's the space that we're going to turn into our stained glass window. But so Amelia, peacemaker, how can Amelia be a peacemaker this week and bring God's peace?
I got it both through.
Cool.
Barely.
Oh, barely. Okay. So how can you, Amelia, be a peacemaker, do you think? What do you think?
I don't know.
Well, you don't know? So you mentioned a bunch of really good things about no violence and no war and everybody being equal. So, and and we need that on a big scale, like on the whole earth, right? That's one of the things that Jesus comes to bring.
I'm wiggling.
You're wiggling? I sometimes, oh, here, do you want me to do that maybe? So this is what I've ended up with, okay?
And I'm ended up with a cut through the middle of the star.
Yeah, okay. Here, let me, okay, so I'm going to use the little scissors. Little scissors are easier for this, I think. So, Amelia, how can you be a peacemaker? How do you think Amelia can be a peacemaker? Because I think Amelia has some very interesting ways that Amelia could be a peacemaker.
I can be the peacemaker
Well,
by being a peacemaker.
well, you could be a peacemaker in your own home, right? So how do you
create peace craft?
Because peace isn't always an easy thing to do. So I think if you start small, right? So what happens when your sister says something you don't like?
Be flexible.
Be a peacemaker.
Be flexible.
Be flexible.
And say, can you not do that?
Can you say, can you not do that? Yeah. Let it go a little bit. Instead of going, "Roar!" right? Which is what usually happens around here.
Mom.
There's my cookie cutter. Okay, so here's Amelia's star and our star. And you see there's a bit of a border around both of them. And so the next thing we're going to do, which is really fun, so we're going to put these away for next week, and then we'll come back to them next week. But Amelia and I are now, while we finish our conversation, and probably a little bit next week, we're going to start cutting up multicolored bits of paper. Now, Amelia, I need you to be really careful because this is flammable and we have an open flame here. Okay.
I want pink first.
You want pink first? Okay, I'll do green. You do pink.
Pink's my favorite.
And we don't, and so you just need like one sheet. But there are ways we can be peacemakers in our homes. And that is a way that we can bring peace on earth. So
what do you want me to do?
I want you to cut up little tiny, I'd like you to cut up like even half of that into little tiny squares. We don't need like all of it. We just need lots of color. So I'm going to do it with green.
I'm going to do something.
Can you hand me a pair of scissors, please? I think I lost a pair of scissors. Can I have a scissors? Thank you. So we can be peacemakers in our homes. We can be peacemakers at school.
Some pink.
And what are ways we can be peacemakers? So I think, and we talked about like letting stuff go and no violence. That's a big one. But taking deep breaths. And doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. And those are some, I think, some good ways. But I wonder if you can come up with some ways that you can be peacemakers. So people who bring peace and love to the world this week. Now we're going to keep doing this and we're going to come back to this next week. But until then, we wish you safety and we wish you a happy time. And we hope you are doing well. Oh, careful, flames.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Not quite yet, but we wish you a Holy Advent. And we'll see you next week. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, ring your bell. Ring your bell, Amelia. No, ring your bell. Bye.